What's up, everybody? Thank y'all for joining me on Buzzing with Marlowe live. I'll say it again, live, guys. We are on the footprint of obviously having Christmas upon us. This is pre-recorded, so basically Christmas has already passed when this will be out. But guys, I hope everybody's had a great holiday. I know this has been one crazy year. I mean, we went from 1 year completely shut down, nothing happening, us starting a podcast, to next year finally slowly getting something back on our feet and this stuff, and then kind of feels like we're taking a backwards turn in ways. But I feel like everything happens for a reason, so hopefully everything's going to be going back to normal. Hopefully, whatever that new normal is. I don't even think anybody knows what that normal is going to be later down the road and stuff like that. I mean, hopefully the mask ordeal and all that can finally be gone or something, but nobody knows what that normal could possibly be. But guys, I hope everybody's had a great day, great week. It is Friday, ladies and gentlemen. That means what it always means, guys. It's the weekend upon you. You have survived. You have made it to another fabulous weekend on just right upon you. Really, right there, almost in that little grass. But guys, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the love, support just for this year alone, man. Just amazing. We just started this YouTube channel, and basically we are almost at 60 subscribers now. That is insane. I literally just started this YouTube page not even 2 months ago, and we're already at 60 subscribers. Also, shout out to Podbean, Audible, Spotify originals. I mean, just can't deny that hard work that we have been doing so far. It's just amazing. Incredible to see where we have come with this podcast. That alone, I went from just doing the audio only episodes to now doing the visuals. Now you can see my pretty face. You can see my guests. Each and every week we're bringing new content to you. You can still listen to it in an audio way. It's just can't go wrong. Can't go wrong, guys. You got the visual and you got the audio. Two different ways you possibly ever think of it. But guys, I'm gonna stop babbling on, guys. I've got so much fun happening for us today. So, guys, today I got a guy named Rod Baker. That's right, guys. Rod Baker. He is bringing awareness to suicide awareness and stuff like that. It's very positive things. I'm looking forward to having this conversation. I've been waiting to have someone come on, talk about something like this to help the awareness, because it is out there. Obviously, with everything that's going on in the world and stuff, you never know. You never know what's going to happen in this world. You never know what can possibly be an outcome, or what impacts somebody to take their life, or what impacts them to actually make a stand and be like, you know what, this ain't worth it. There's so much better. There's something there. We've all seen somebody go through this. It's not an easy thing at all. Way down many roads. I was like in my 20s. Like everybody knows, I've had a personal issue with my son. When I was very young. Son was like almost 2 years old. His mom did some bad things that literally hurt me, harmed me. Felt like I didn't have a child for almost 8 months. Felt like I wasn't in my son's life, wasn't around or something. And you feel very empty. You feel lost. You feel, when I say vulnerable, I feel like you have no control for the emotions that just overflow in your body and stuff like that. So, guys, I'm looking forward to having this talk with Rod. This is going to be an awesome chat. But, guys, also, if you haven't, like and subscribe on our YouTube page. Like and subscribe on all our audio platforms, guys. Shout out to Podbean and Audible for accepting Buzzing with Marlowe now. We are finally growing more and more. We are also now on Apple products, guys. That is a big deal for me. That has been a hassle to get on, but we are on it now. So, guys, shout out to them on that. But, guys, when we come back, when the countdown goes from 30 to 1, I will be joined with Roderick Baker. And the countdown starts right now. I'm joined with Roderick Baker. How you doing, man?
What's going on, man? I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Warren?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine, man. It's
Yeah,
Friday, man. It's almost Friday. Like, oh my gosh, it's
almost.
crazy to believe just Christmas is right around the corner. Like, holy moly. We all use the catchphrase, hey man, what are you waiting on Christmas? You're literally waiting until next week. Like, this is insane that it's literally right here. So,
Right.
I mean, oh man. So where are you currently at right now, Rod?
So I'm in Alabama right now. I'm in
Okay.
McCalla, Alabama.
So you're a Crimson Tide fan, huh?
Of course, Roll Tide, man.
Oh.
All your fans know Roll Tide. All of your subscribers out there, comment Roll Tide in the comments.
There we go, man. I can't say nothing, man. I'm a Hurricane fan, and they beat the living tar out of us. Gosh,
Yeah.
that was just so brutal.
Yeah.
Just for us to go to Atlanta and get beat like that was just embarrassing. Embarrassing. I mean, I thought we had a hope in it, but apparently not. Apparently not.
Right.
I was like, this ain't the same Alabama I'm used to.
Yeah.
It don't matter. That team's still just going to produce and just keep killing it. And I mean, oh my
Still
Lord.
in the DNA.
It's insane. Like, I remember the time where people used to be embarrassed to say they were an Alabama fan. Now it's just, that's the platform. That's the pillar to be at for college football right now. And I mean, it's insane.
Right.
I mean, Roll Tide has been rolling strong for a long, long time. I actually had a friend that actually graduated from the University of Alabama. He actually came to Yulee. He used to play for Yulee and stuff. I'm pretty sure everybody knows Derrick Henry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy to see that he brought a foundation to that school and one of the most remembered guys out there. Because I remember when he first got on, I think Trent Richardson was still there or someone. It was one of those main running backs at the time, and we kept telling him like, "You ain't starting over him. Nah, that ain't happening. I'm playing running back. I don't care what they said." And I'm like, "You ain't starting over that guy. I don't care what you say. You're not." And needless to say, he didn't play for a whole season, almost a whole season, and they let him play in that Sugar Bowl, and the rest is history.
Absolutely.
The rest was history, and Derrick Henry proved to Nick Saban, "Hey, I'm for real.
Yeah.
You put me in, let's go."
Yeah.
And I mean, just seeing the accomplishments that he's got with the NFL and stuff now, and just in general with Alabama players itself, like usually teams that go to national championships, they don't excel in the pro level, and Alabama's not been disappointing at all. At all.
They got a great record.
At all, man. It's insane. Like, that program is nasty. Oh my Lord. And y'all got a pretty good chance in that playoffs for sure.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Hey. So other than football, Rod, like, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. I know this is your very first, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rod's very first podcast to ever be on. And I appreciate him actually coming on the Buzzing with Marlowe. I mean, that's huge for both of us, man. That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely, yeah. This is my first one, man. I thank you for, accepting the invitation, man, and allowing me to come on and talk about what I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. So what are you trying to bring awareness to, man? I know with the world that we're living, I like to joke around, say the Resident Evil era. Like, this is insane. Like, who would ever thought a movie that we sit here and just like, there's no way this could ever possibly happen. It's kind of is, except we're just not zombies. Like, we're just getting sick, and the rest is history. And it's just like, oh my god.
Hey, some of us are zombies, though, man. We out here kind of, moonwalking.
We something. We walking. We walking around somewhere, Walking Dead didn't prepare us just to watch a show. That's for sure.
Right. It was reality. But yeah, man, I want to bring awareness to being able to overcome bullying. A lot of us, I think most humans on planet Earth in some way, form, or fashion have experienced bullying. And in this day and age, on top of everything you said, like this Resident Evil type of life with all the fear, anxiety, and all the things that are happening on Earth, you got this pressure of not knowing how to deal with bullying. And oftentimes there's a culture that's created around bullying that people don't talk
Yeah.
about. There's an undercurrent that kind of like flows, and it's just kind of like, all right, we're gonna sweep that under the rug. I just want to shed some light on it. That's my
Okay.
disposition, to shed light in the midst of the darkness and show
Okay.
people how to become a hope agent.
Hey, I liked. I saw the pictures and stuff. I like that. The hope agent. I like that.
Mhm.
So talk about it. What made you actually decide to? Did you make this foundation on your own, or did you partner in with some people, or how
No,
did
I
you
just
get that started? That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I just kind of formulated that. The hope agent is basically somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's knowledgeable about bullying, somebody who can affirm people who've been bullied, and somebody who
Mm-hmm.
stands for bullies, stands up against
Right.
bullying.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've had experience being bullied, right? So it was kind of like a 3-step course. I got bullied as a kid, then I became a bully because the bully seemed to be accepted, and then I became bully
Mm-hmm.
free. And when I became bully
Okay.
free, I was able to formulate, all right, hope agent. I was able to formulate
Right.
what that looks like, and take steps to get out of bullying versus stay stuck in this hole.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you witnessed bullying. So what age were you basically when you really experienced the bullying level? I mean, luckily for me, I won't say I necessarily was bullied. It was just I had so much expectations to myself from my parents and stuff like that, and I feel like that kind of was a necessary kind of thing of a bullying ordeal, just because those expectations can be overwhelming at times, and sometimes it can make you feel like, oh man, like you're not even doing that bad. Like, here's an example: you're thinking, hey man, I got a B on my report card, and your parents come home and they're like, you're grounded. Like, why a B? Like, what are you doing? I think that's a good example. I mean, I wasn't that great. I mean, I'd be happy if I had a B on my report card, but I mean, I was A's, B's, and maybe one C. Okay, I wasn't too bad, but A's and B's, I was amazed. Like, hey, A, B,
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Mama, put
Right.
down the refrigerator. There we go. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of like my experience with like that bullying ordeal is just over just overwhelmed on just expectations that somebody put out there for you. Is
Mhm.
that something that you witnessed, or did you actually witness literally the bullying ordeal that everybody's pretty much had an idea of?
Right. I witnessed what you just described from an observation stance. Right. I did see
Mm-hmm.
people kind of have high expectations, and they got put up on a pedestal, and they may have gotten shamed or talked bad about when they didn't meet those expectations or even shoot for them. So I
Mm-hmm.
did see that, but I didn't personally identify with that level of bullying. My bullying was really more, it had a mix of physical bullying, mental bullying, verbal bullying. I experienced that. The first time I experienced it and knew, this didn't feel right, was in elementary school. And as a kid, you're very impressionable, and you don't really know how things
Mm-hmm.
work. You're still
Right.
formulating, what it is to go to school and try to find organized structure. So if you add bullying into the mix, that just throws your whole equilibrium off. So I had a first
Yeah.
hand experience with bullying, and what, the effects of it did to me and people around me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's deep, man. That's deep.
Yeah. We
That's.
have we ain't
I
got deep
mean,
yet, but I hear you. It goes deeper.
yeah. I mean, it's around. I mean, people don't realize. Like, I mean, we watch these movies and stuff from countless of ages and stuff, and bullying is out there. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if it's been heavily what it used to be, what we used to experience now in the generations. I mean, good lord, if you just say, "Hey, flip a nail," and you probably offend the whole world population, which is kind of crazy, but
Right.
whatever their level of bullying is nowadays. But yeah, so for stuff like that, I mean, it's out there, and like I said, it can be too overwhelming. It can go to a point that people just, why am I here? Why am I literally my purpose on here to be bullied? Like, why me? What is it? My looks? How way I'm dressed? Something like that. And that's how I remember it used to be with bullying. Was people used to bully people on how they look. Um, if they weren't athletic or something like that. Those little things were the big keys that they were just like, hey, you're not normal. Like, you're not here.
Right.
You're not us. You're
Oh,
We got this group. You're on your own and stuff
yeah,
like that. And like I said, it can be very overwhelming, very
yeah.
overwhelming.
And that's one of the things that hits people. Isolation. You're over there, like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
When you're isolated, now we're not just entering into the physical isolation. That's also psychological isolation, right?
Yep.
Anybody
Yep.
who's ever been to prison will probably tell you that 23-hour lockdown is worse than being in population. I'd rather be in general pop, right? I mean, prison is pretty bad on either the spectrum, but to isolate me, that's even a worse monster, right? So if you do that to
Oh man.
kids that don't know anything about, they're learning structure. And if they get isolated from that structure building, right, learning what a structure looks like, you take a kid away from
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, if it'll affect an adult, what do you think it'll do to an adolescent? Right, this
Oh
kid
yeah.
that needs to be nurtured, this kid that needs to be loved and know
Still
that they're
learning.
special. Yeah, they're still learning. Their frontal lobe isn't even fully developed. They're still learning the process of what it looks like to be a human, let alone have human connection. So if you separate that,
Yeah.
that's where we get into dark thoughts and deep thoughts like suicide. I don't want to be here, like you just said. What am I living for? Am I here to just get picked on because of how I look? And they're still doing that, man. Like, it's just evolved to cyber bullying now. Now I can bully you at 2:00 in the morning, and I can be in Taiwan and you can be in California, and I can still have an effect on you and a reach towards you by using social media. So it's definitely here. I mean, I think that's why a lot of
Is it really that big anymore? I mean, I'm not really used to all that anymore. Like, is it really big still? Like all that cyberbullying and stuff. I remember when they first came out with Facebook and stuff. It was really bad, really, really bad when it first came out. And I think I was almost in high school. If I remember,
Yeah.
it's like, oh dang, I actually am kind of old now. But yeah, like in high school and stuff. Like I remember cyberbullying was a big ordeal, and
Yeah.
then it can hurt somebody really bad. Like say like if somebody has long hair and they just feel like they're not fitting in, that's a start. Like hey, they start cutting their hair. They start feeling like hey, maybe I need to change this up a little bit. And I mean, I got to experience a little bit of that when I was in the world of professional wrestling because I'm not that big. I'm not 250 pounds. I'm not the John Cena's and all that. I was literally a 180-pound guy that literally could just entertain a crowd. I was very well known. Hey, I'm good with my shirt off, stuff like that. And some guys found that offensive. That hey, he don't need to be taking his shirt off and stuff. He looks like a little kid or stuff. And I'm sitting there like, okay. But I had that mentality. Like I was in good realm and everything, and I knew I looked better than most of those guys. But it was just like some of that stuff that they speak of. You start believing it when you keep hearing it so much, and it really gets to a point where it's like, all right, man, am I really this small? Like, is that why I'm not getting this opportunity at the championship? Is this why I lost this match or something like that? You just start thinking of so much stuff, and that's the problem. When you start thinking and start questioning everything, it just fully overwhelms your head. Like it's just a 180. That roller coaster just don't know how to stop. It's just going around and around until you just literally just shut down basically. And I can only imagine how it is now. But yeah, that's insane. You did mention something about like with prison and stuff like that. Did you ever witness anything like that, or you just know somebody from this?
That was just imagination. No, I've never witnessed
Yeah.
anything like that in prison. Or I have had people I know go to jail, but not like that.
Yeah.
I was just talking more so of the psychological side of separation.
Yeah, that's a great example. I was just curious. I was just curious because
yeah.
like I tell people numerous times, like, hey, if you were trying to get somebody to help teach you about changing their life, changing their life cycle, and for the better, I told people all the time, like I literally met this one guy. Shout out to my friend Pastor Maurice. I mean, this dude was locked up just for making bad decisions in his past. And literally in prison, he made his change. And he was like, you know what? I'm not going to be this guy anymore. And I'm going to change. I'm going to live my life for the Lord. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I believed it more from him because you see just how much of a better living that he's doing, how much happier he is. And he's constantly at church. He's a pastor preaching on the word and stuff. And you can believe it because you see the results with him. I mean, just from people like, if you've never believed in being in a religious person or something like that, and you see something like that, you start thinking like, hey man, maybe he's got something there. Like maybe there is something that's better out there for me. Like
Yeah.
maybe my life is not as bad as I always thought it could be or something like
Yeah.
that. So that's why I asked that, because a lot of people can basically grow around to what you're trying to say on that scenario if you've went in something like that, because they're like, oh, look how good he's been doing now. Like there is a purpose. Like maybe me shoplifting back in the day just because I felt like I couldn't afford something and friends were picking on me because I couldn't afford something. Like these are all little things that could trial into that big step, and it's like, no, no, no. Like my 3-year-old would say, no, no, no. So it's crazy how that can actually happen to people. Like it's in so many ways.
Absolutely.
Like I've witnessed people that actually they're not bad people. It's just they haven't had the best living, and I mean their parents couldn't afford some stuff, so
Right.
they went around trying to take stuff because, I mean, that's happened. I mean,
Yeah.
how many people have actually said it? I know people are not going to sit there and say, "Well, I've never met nobody that stole anything." Like, come on, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's been. You've been alive. You've seen something stolen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Seen something
like
or done something.
it's crazy on that. I hope people don't sit there and go, "Oh man, he helps these out." No, like literally, it's just a perspective. Like people don't realize what mindset people are in that
Yeah.
psychological thing.
Right.
So when you call yourself the hope agent, which I love that. That's pretty cool.
Appreciate it.
That sounds like you're like some type of bullying superhero. I love it. That's pretty awesome. It sounds like you got like a TV show coming up in the future. Like, hey man, I'm racking up one bully at a time. Like, there you go. Like clearing the streets once a week or something like that. So that's pretty cool. So how long have you been trying to bring this awareness out, and like what things have you actually been able to help people realize, you know what? Maybe he's got something there. Maybe he knows what he's talking about. Because some people just look at it and be like, I've heard that, been there, done that. It don't work. So what do you tell them to actually make them realize, maybe I should think about this. Maybe I should start.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had a real world experience with this. So when you start talking about something that you've been through and you're able to talk about coming out of the pit and pulling yourself out of something, I don't care what it is, that skill still transfers. Whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to get out of prison and become a pastor like the gentleman you mentioned, however it looked, that's where my basis started. So you asked how long have I been doing it? In my heart and in my life for a very long time, since I got out of high school, since I got out of college. But just so recently, maybe a couple of years ago, I started, really getting videos out, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, putting videos out on Facebook and Instagram, really trying to get the message out here to let people know you matter, right? It's not just a t-shirt, it's a way of life for me. So that was one of the things that I was like, all right, so now that I know how to get out of this pit, let me put together something. And I got up with a coach, right? And he's coaching me on how to do this. Let me put together something that I can actually give to kids in school. So I got a 4-week program called the Hope Agency that I just created with my coach that I'm formulating right now and putting together in the works. But I've seen so many people talk to me in side conversations about bullying and about suicide, and people will call me on the phone, people who I would never imagine. And they would talk to me like, Rod, I want to die. I want to kill myself. They would literally, some of them would be on pills. Like they would tell me I took so many amount of pills, and I would be like, wow, this is really happening. I used to be the guy who was bullying folks, right? I used to be bullied. Now I'm becoming bully free. Now I'm becoming a hope agent without even having an acronym yet. So when I started to see it in my actual life and I started to live it, that's when it started to become more real. Now I don't have to put on for Facebook and Instagram. Now I don't have to put on this identity because they don't like me taking my shirt off, right? They don't like me being who I'm supposed to be. That was one of the things that I got bullied for, my energy, right? I got bullied for talking white, right? That's what they say in the hood. You talk white, boy, you sound like you grew up in Princeton, right? And the uniqueness of me, right? I was able to take something that people would make fun of me about, and I was able to flip it. So if they made fun of me for wearing glasses, I would say, well, Tupac wore glasses. Malcolm X wore glasses, right? I would name
Mm-hmm.
famous people, and I learned how to flip it, because before I would be like, I'll be sad, and they would make all the jokes, and I wouldn't know what to say. But then I would start to flip it. I became smart, right? So I was
Mm-hmm.
able to take the psychology that somebody used against me and use it for me, and that helped me accept my uniqueness. So the same way
Right.
you were able to accept, all right, I look good without my shirt, I can entertain the crowd. I was like, all right, I can use this energy for good. Because before
Mm-hmm.
I used my energy for good, I wanted to be what everybody else saw and what everybody else told me I should be. So I
Mm-hmm.
lost my identity trying to be like Tupac, trying to be the thug, right? I played the thug role because the thug didn't get picked on. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
mess with you. I won't deny you. I'm a straight rider. You don't want to mess with me, right? That's the Tupac lyric. And Ambitions of a Rider. I thought I was a rider. I thought I was Tupac. You can give me a bandana, right? Put Thug Life over my fat belly, right? As a teenager, and I'm thugged out, right? Because you don't want to mess with me. That was me putting on this turtle shell, but on the inside, I was this squishy turtle. I wasn't designed to be a thug.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived
Mm-hmm.
thug life, but thug life really tested me and said, you ain't really about this. Right. So there was like
Yeah.
another notch on me not being who I'm supposed to be, not knowing who I am. And these thoughts, again, like you got fed, maybe I really don't belong. Maybe I am too small. Those thoughts about me and myself, maybe I'm not cool. Maybe I'm not loved. That's what
Mm-hmm.
fed suicidal thoughts. I'm tired of
Mm-hmm.
waking up not being happy, being who I am. And I'm tired of being bullied for who I am.
Right.
Right. So I'm becoming a crossroads. You're going to suffer or I'm going to suffer. Right. So I'm tired
Mm-hmm.
of bullying. Eventually, you push me back a number of times. I'm going to stand up on you and I'm going to show you what it
Mm-hmm.
feels like. And me,
Yeah.
I'm a very emotional dude. So I would go overboard a lot of times. I wouldn't know how to peel back and just chill. And that also, again, everything I did that was outside of my character, it just added up. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
it actually added down. It subtracted. It took away from me. And it drove me deeper into despair. I'm trying to be cool. That's not working. I'm trying to be
Mm-hmm.
me. That's not working. I'm trying to be nice. That's not working. I'm trying to be mean. That's not working. So all of these things fed into suicide. I don't want to live anymore. I'm just tired. I'm doing bad in school. My grades are suffering. My friendships are leaving. I'm getting punished at home because my grades ain't good. And it was just an ugly revolving cycle
Just
of
you
not knowing
didn't
how to
feel
be
like
me.
yourself. You didn't
Yeah,
feel
not knowing how to be
successful.
me. I didn't feel like myself at all.
Yeah, that's sad, man. That's crazy because I mean people don't realize that that happens very often. Like I say my wrestling thing, but the reason why I actually started professional wrestling was because of personal choices that I had. I was good in high school basketball, made it enough to walk onto a basketball team, made the team, found out I got one of my old high school sweethearts pregnant. So basically had to come home, be a dad.
Yeah.
And needless to say, didn't work out. Um, she moved 8 hours away. I didn't know about it. Took my child, didn't even hear about them for about 8 months. I had to take her to court just so I can get rights back, just to say, hey, I'm the dad. Like
Yeah.
that's the worst part. So trust me, I know what you mean by when you say stuff like that because I always believed what was right and what was wrong was wrong.
Yeah.
And that scenario, it made me question everything that
Yeah.
I learned when I was younger. Because my mom and my dad, I mean, my dad was very hard on me just because he was in the military. So he raised me like a military guy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But he knew I was good in sports. He had no lick of knowledge about sports, but he was probably one of my best coaches. Like my dad literally had no idea. He had no reason to teach me how to play
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
But probably one of the hardest practices I ever had because he would blindfold me, say, "Hey, make 100." Or actually, at first it would have been, "You have to make 10. I'll tell you when to take it off." And I would keep shooting until he told me to take it off. One time I almost spent almost a whole day sitting in the backyard, just sitting there shooting
Wow.
this stupid ball. Like I started questioning. I was like, man, maybe I don't like this sport no more. Like it was just those little things. But he
Mm-hmm.
was like, hey, I know you can do something with this. That's why I'm hard on you to do it. And it took me a long time to realize that. And then when I had that ordeal with my son's mom and with my son being gone for 8 months, I mean, he's not even three, like 2 years old. And I
Mm.
wasn't in his life for like 8 months of it. And it just tore me apart. And
Yeah.
when I tell you, you feel worthless, you feel helpless, you feel like nothing matters, that is the moment I will tell people, like, when you say you've experienced and stuff like that, I've experienced it. That's one reason why I decided to do this podcast as well, was because I am a father that has to pay child support on a woman that basically doesn't work with me, basically doesn't cooperate with me. I have to go 8 hours to go get him, and sometimes she's supposed to meet me halfway and then tells me last minute, a day or two later, hey, I can't make it, so you got to come the whole way. And like I have to like change my whole schedule just so I can cater and get that worked out and then to go see my child.
Yeah.
So trust me, I know what you mean by these things, because when I got in a courtroom and the first time we did a trial, they sat there and told me, hey, she didn't have any knowledge of daycare or anything like that, so you should be fine. It was Shrimp Fest weekend, so obviously we could finish the court case, but there was a parade going on, so they were like, hey, we could postpone this, schedule another day, or we can do it now, but we won't be out of here until 8 o'clock at night because the parade will shut everything down. Everybody was like, oh, we can do another day. And I was like, no, I'm good. Let's finish this now, because Lord only knows what's going to happen the next time. Yeah. And my lawyer and stuff, they all told me, it's like, she can't add newer information into this because she had no information to a daycare, physical training stuff, because my son's special needs. He has autism and stuff like that. Yes. So he wasn't able to get his therapy and stuff. Like my son really didn't fully walk until he was like 6 years old. That's when he really started to actually be able to work with his feet, walk normal. I mean, poor child had knee braces on for until he was like, I think almost 5, probably almost 6 years old, stuff like that. And I mean, it was just rough for me completely. And then when I went in that court case, man, I tell you right now, I should not be here right now because of this, when that decision came, because the next time we went in the courtroom, she had all kinds of information that literally, I guess he took whatever. And they basically said, you're a good father. Didn't second guess anything I said. Mm-hmm. The only thing that they got upset with me about was when they were in the courtroom and they were asking her about her boyfriend or whatever. And I found out he just got out of prison, and he was just in an high-speed chase not even a week before our court date. So I'm sitting there, and I got upset because, I mean, I haven't seen my son in 8 months, and my son was in a car with some random stranger in my eyes, a lunatic, basically, like somebody that's not good in my son's life. And needless to say, I got assigned anger management. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I got appointed anger management. And they say it's 50-50 custody, but you can't really do 50-50 when you're 8 hours away and him being in school. So the rest is history. That's how it was. And I mean, when I got out of that courtroom, I mean, I just felt empty. I felt like nothing mattered. I felt like every achievement I've done in my life, I've always been somebody that's really hard on myself because I knew I had potential to do anything that I wanted to do. I was really good in sports. I mean, I just had to put effort in. Sometimes I literally just put enough effort just to fit in, basically. You just wanted to be on the team. That's how I was for a long time, especially football. I didn't really even like playing football at first because my friends play football. So I needed something to do after school. So that was really the reason why I started playing. Plus, then you get the girls. That's what we all thought. Hey, play football, girls, hang out with your friends. There you go. Yeah. But that was my perspective. Like, I was like, you know what? I might be good at this sport, but you know what? I just want to hang out with my friends. I want to be on the team with them, be able to represent my school and stuff like that. And sometimes it's still a lot of things. The toughest pill for me to swallow is when they say, hey, it's not enough. Whatever hard work you're doing is still not enough. And when I say that courtroom struck me to my core, oh my gosh. There was times, I think I've only said this twice on this podcast before. There was times I would literally run stoplights because I would wait on green lights and haul ass on stoplights. And I remember, like how you said, where you thought you were like that Tupac life and stuff like that. Something reminded you, maybe I'm not that life. Mm-hmm. That happened to me when almost a 16-wheeler almost almost hit me. It was in the rain and stuff. It almost hit me. And then I realized there's got to be another way. There's
Yeah.
got to be a new purpose. There's got to be something there. I mean, shout out to my family in general because that was the toughest thing for me and toughest pill to swallow. Like she took them right before Christmas, so Christmas was a very
Come
bitter
on,
holiday
man.
for me for a long time.
Yeah.
So it was really tough. Like that Christmas, oh my gosh, none of us wanted it. None of us even cared what happened that day because it was a rough time. And
Yeah.
like I said, it went from Christmas all the way to right after my birthday is when we finally got into the courtroom again. Actually, it was it was the end of May. We got in the courtroom, and
Mhm.
the rest is history. I I just signed a paper just to be like, look, I we just need to have an agreement, whatever. Because I was just like, there's nothing that's gonna follow on because we tried to go to mediation and that just did not work for either party. So
Yeah.
we just signed a paper and that was it. Even though she hasn't followed it, whatever. But when I tell you, you feel that is one topic that I hate talking about sometimes, but I feel like it does need to be addressed because that is a big key to what you're trying to bring out because it's a type of bullying because people already
Come on.
assume
Absolutely.
because you're the father, you're a bad person. If the mom's not with you, it's your fault. It's because something you've done. And
Hmm.
it was definitely a tough pill for me for a long, long, long time, man. I mean, it still hurts sometimes nowadays, but I've grown to. I mean, I haven't really grown to it. I mean, I've just had to learn to deal with it in a
Right.
way. Just know, hey, when he's with me, he's in my care. When he's with her, Lord only knows.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
Right.
just.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as best as I can do with him. Like I tell him all the time, like, bro, I'm one phone call away. Literally,
Mhm.
I'm one phone call away. I will be there for you as much as I can. But when you're with mommy, I can't always promise that I can protect you. I will do my ability that I can do for you. Never think your life is going to be questioned in this because, yeah, daddy will be there. But for that perspective, it's a tough thing to deal with. And the situation that I dealt with, people would have already killed themselves. People would have
Mm.
already drank themselves to sleep, popped pills, and just said that's it. Shoot themselves, something like that. Like
Mhm.
these little things. And when I tell people I hit that rock bottom, man, I hit that ground hard,
Yeah.
hard. And I never thought I was gonna get back up. Never thought I was gonna get back up. Shout out to professional wrestling. Instead of me going to jail, getting locked up for doing something else,
Right.
why not go and train to fight somebody,
Come
even
on.
though it's a rehearsed fight, whatever? But you know what? It's fighting. You're
That's a way to
actually
get that
going to still
aggression
hit
out
this
too.
guy.
Right.
You know what? Why not? Let me do that for 6 years and stuff. And I mean, that helped me in a way. And then
That's good.
obviously, it's not fake. It hurts. So the rest is history.
Yeah.
but yeah, man. I mean, I know I rambled on enough on it, but yeah,
No, you
man,
good.
it's just like when you get thrown in a tunnel. I think that's a great example. When you're put in a tunnel and you don't see nothing bright coming out of it,
Man, come on, man.
you don't know what your purpose is.
Absolutely.
You're really at that point. It's just like, what's left?
Right.
What's left for me? Like,
Yeah.
why am I here? Why have I lived this long just to
Mhm.
suffer that?
Yeah.
Like, is that my
It's the
calling?
end.
Is that my point to say, hey,
Right.
should I
Yeah.
just do it now? Like, what's
Right.
up?
Right.
So, oh man, but yeah, I'm gonna let you talk now because I've been.
Well, no, I mean, man, you made so many good points, man, and so many illustrations. That's why what we're doing, talking about this, is important, right? Kids, adults, everybody of all ages need to know in your mind, in that tunnel, there is light at the end of the tunnel, right?
hmm
Oftentimes we can't see it. Like there was light for me. I had family members that loved me and cared about me. I had friends that cared about me when I was dealing with depression and suicide. I had a breakup, right? In high school, it made me depressed. I
hmm
still didn't know my purpose. I still didn't know who I was supposed to be. I was in that dark tunnel, like you just mentioned. And I had family around me that loved me, but I couldn't see them because I was in that tunnel. If I would have had some tangible steps, thank God I found those tangible steps later. That's why I want to give them out now. If I would have had those tangible steps, I would have been able to be self-prevalent. I would have been able to be my
Mm-hmm.
own light, to be able to be my own hope agent, and to walk around and to shed light on darkness everywhere I went. But I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
those tools, or I didn't care about them. I wanted what I wanted, but I didn't recognize what I
Right.
wanted was killing me, kind of like a drug. I didn't recognize this crack
Mm-hmm.
cocaine of wanting to be somebody I'm not. It was addicting, right? To get attention for being somebody you're not. That's what we have on social media today. That's why most people are not who they're supposed to be.
That's a
It's because
bad
they're
thing
not
about it.
comfortable. Yeah, I know. They're not comfortable with being themselves, though. So I became bully free when I became comfortable being myself, if that helps tie it in, right? I found my uniqueness as
Mm-hmm.
something that I could use to be a light. And of course, incorporating faith. I gave my life to Jesus. I'd always knew of God, but I didn't really give him full attention, right? Because he's not, he's in the background. God ain't cooler than Grand Theft Auto, right? I'd rather be playing video games. I'd rather be in the world, right? But once I found my uniqueness, that caused me to go inside. I had to find intrinsic motivation and not extrinsic. It had to be internal, not external. Because everything on the outside was telling me to be like
Mm-hmm.
Tupac, to be the thug. Everybody on the outside was telling me it's all right to gun down your neighbor, and it's all right to strife and have beef, right? Beef
Mm-hmm.
became popular. They even did a DVD series on it called Beef, right? So that was the era that my mind state was in, because that gave me a shell.
Mm-hmm.
I can wear
Right.
this and I'll be protected and I won't be bullied again. Go ask Mike
Mm-hmm.
Tyson if anybody ever thought about bullying him, because he got bullied. And he said in one of his
Yep.
interviews, I'll never let that happen to me again. So he became Mike Tyson. But if you listen to him now in his interviews, he'll tell you how scared he is and how fearful he is. He did an interview with Lil
Mm-hmm.
Boosie, and he was like, Boosie, you scare me, right? He's transparent about it, but he experienced exactly what I experienced, right? Going through
Mm-hmm.
that stage of, I ain't gonna let you do this to me, so I'm gonna become whatever I gotta become in order to get you off my back.
So it stops. So it's done.
Yeah, so
So it
this is gonna
stops. Yeah.
stop, right? If you don't stop it, I'm gonna stop it. It was that type of mentality. And again, I
Mm-hmm.
went overboard, and that caused issues in friendships, issues with family, right? Issues with myself. I just kept going down a deeper hole. But what brought me out was, again, learning who I am, accepting those things that made me special, accepting my voice,
Mm-hmm.
accepting my bigness. I became Big Rod, right? Accepting those things that are unique about me, and not allowing people to reject me because of them. You can reject me, but I've
Mm-hmm.
learned to give myself self-affirmation. I love me now. You can't take away the love that I have for me. You may not love me, but I've learned, based on reading scripture, based on showing the love that I want people to show me, the love that I lacked, right? I showed that love. And again, those seeds that I sown, they grew up, and I was able to eat off of those seeds, to eat off of that tree that grew, right? So I sowed those seeds of
Mm-hmm.
love, and now I can share those seeds with people via Instagram, Facebook, and via my coaching program and videos that I put out on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. I love it, man, because I just said this numerous times. I remember my pastor, shout out to Maurice again, was we're blinded by our own God to follow the real God. And I mean, the way it now is,
Can you say that again?
it's true. It's true. Like literally, we're blinded from our God to what's the real God. And like literally, man, it's a scary thing because
That's a
I've
fact.
witnessed it. I mean, we see it on national TV now, like celebrities. I mean, just some of the anger that some of these guys had just from little things, and they're literally telling you, hey, support this. If you support me, you support this.
Mm.
And some people are just like, hold up, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
This is not in my belief. I used to believe what you see, but now it's like I don't know. I have to take a step back. I
Yeah.
still like you, but I don't accept what your choice is saying on this.
Mhm.
And I mean, just this year alone, you could just tell like how real that saying is, because the way the world is right now is based off of what people saw, what celebrities gave you. And I mean, it's facts. I mean,
Yeah.
absolute facts. I'm not political or anything like that, but I mean, I've never seen a team of celebrities team up on certain party to literally be like, that's enough. We're done. This is changing. We're changing this whole line. we're telling our fans, hey, you support this and only this. You can't like this. You are literally, you have to like this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to, if you like us, you support this,
That's a form of bullying.
or you're not a fan. And people don't realize that. That was a big art of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Anger for these young, like we said, these kids are so young. They're still learning what life is. They're still developing to get to. I mean, I used to think it was a joke when my teacher would sit here and say, "We're preparing y'all for the future," and you don't realize that until now. It's like, man, Miss Amos, I appreciate what you said in fifth period in such and such year.
On,
you know, like it's just like you don't realize it until now. It's just like the way these kids are now. They're just so angry, and I mean, I see it numerous times. I've seen one kid. I ain't saying names, but I've seen one kid literally because I go play flag football on weekends and stuff. So just to have my little time. And I mean, I don't wrestle anymore. So that's been my coping mechanism. Go play flag football. And I mean, that's been an absolute thrill for me. I having a blast doing that. I seen kids. One kid got into it with one guy. He calls for his other friend. And literally, it looked like he just literally took a pause and took a timeout and basically stepped back from fighting. And his friend was coming out to fight. And I'm like, is this what we're doing nowadays? Like, tag fight? What is this? Like,
tag me.
We forgot what old school fighting is. We're jumping people, friend posses and stuff like that. I was like,
now too. We got guns. We gonna shoot you.
I know. It's just like it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. I mean, I tell you like this. If you upset me, hey, I'm not even going to pick a punch at you anymore. I used to be excited. Like, hey, you want to fight me?
That's fine.
That's on you. Cool. So I literally was at that point. It's like, look, I'm just going to pick you up, drop you down. You get back up, you might get dropped back again. I mean, or I might give you a praise like, hey, you might have me. But I'm too old to even worry about all that nonsense anymore. Like, I'm not getting jumped and I'm not having somebody jump me. So it's just crazy to how the world has been now because the younger generation is just they're living off of hatred for so much and I don't understand where all this hatred has come from. It's from the social media stuff. I mean, me having this podcast, I said I got to be on social media. I mean, you can't do a podcast without having social media. I mean, it's the easiest way to platform your stuff and stuff. And I've witnessed this with TikTok and I would say Instagram in ways. There has been some posts that they have literally said, hey, we kind of find this offensive. You kind of need to level down on it. Yeah. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, why? Because I was speaking my opinion? Or was it something that you or somebody didn't like? So it's just like the generation now. I just wish it could get to the fact that, hey, man, be appreciative of where we're at. Be appreciative. Waking your eyes up, live another day. Be appreciative of what we got around us because this could be all taken by tomorrow. Like, literally, you don't realize this stuff. I didn't realize it until, recently, last year, I lost one of my best friends from high school. Never thought I would ever lost him early at the years that he is. I mean, he just would have been 30. And you don't realize stuff until it's not there anymore. Like, this guy used to be the movie with Michael Orr and Sandra Bullock or whatever? I can't remember what it's called.
Blindside.
Blindside. Yeah, Blindside. He was literally Michael Orr. I mean, he wasn't as aggressive as Michael Orr and stuff, but he was Michael Orr, like the big guy on campus type scenario. And when we lost him, I mean, it was just, it was a really sad loss because it was unexpected. Right. And that's what people need to realize with this life. Like, why live so angry? Why be so upset with what's going around in the world? Just be happy. Yeah. Be appreciative of who you're around. Be appreciative of who you're around. Be kind to people. I mean, my favorite icon in the world is The Rock. And I love the metaphor. He says the most important thing of life is to always be nice. That is the main thing that he said has got him such a long way, is just being nice to somebody. Don't care what background they've had or anything. He's learned, hey, everyone's human. And sometimes you just need to say, hi, man, how you doing? you don't realize how much that could change somebody's life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just little things like that. I remember I got to meet one of my old baseball coaches I had like when I was in my T-ball era, and I randomly saw him at Publix like 3 years ago, and I gave him a hug. Apparently, he texted my mom telling him that that meant so much to him because
Wow.
he felt lost, like nobody appreciated him and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
he told my mom like how much that meant to him.
Right.
And I mean, it's just these little things you don't realize how it can be such a serious and big thing.
Yeah.
So it's
I carry
just
stuff like that, man. I'm in the same boat.
it's
That's why my,
crazy.
my personality is so I welcome people in. When I go to Publix, I'm
Hmm.
speaking. When I go to the gas station, I'm giving you a head nod. I'm affirming everywhere I go. Because like you said, you
Hmm.
never know what somebody's going through. And every
Right.
seed sown, number one, God sees. Number two, you're going to reap what you sow, some way, some form of fashion. The stuff you do in the
Hmm.
secret, the head nods, the smiles, the hey, how you doing that you give in secret, God is going to find a way to bless you, and He's going to give you a platform to use for His
Hmm.
glory. If you're using it
Hmm.
right, God is going to continue to give you more. I give you 2 things, you do right, I give you 4. I give you 10, you do right, I give you 20. So that's why
Hmm.
I'm with you on that. Like I embrace people. I let people know you matter because I remember how I felt when I didn't matter, and I remember how I treated people when I felt like I
Hmm.
didn't matter. And you mentioned this hate and anger, bro. Like, listen, I, me and anger had a very long-standing affair, relationship, if you will. Uh, a lot of that hate, it stems from self-hate. So if you popularize hate in music, if you popularize hate in movies and it's in your heart and it's in your home and people in your schools are telling you they hate you, all right, now you got a hate bubble.
They're gonna start believing it. They're gonna
Right, you
start
start
believing it.
believing it. If that's all you're seeing, that's what you're going to experience, and then you're going to share that poison that you have in your chest with everybody you come in contact with. And if it's okay, if it's made popular, there's no cure.
Hmm.
I just so happen to find a cure. I found Christ. I found self-preservation. I found self-affirmation, telling myself that I am smart, no matter how people call me stupid, that I am worthy, even though people want to call me fat or call me lame, right? I had a homegirl who told me lame is in. You know why? Because lame means living as Moses expected. So
I
taking
never thought
all
of it
the
like that. That's
things,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
it's my home girl. I love that girl to life. It's taking the things that people try to use against you and giving it a positive spin.
Hmm.
That's how you spread love is by flipping the negativity that you experience in school or at the workplace or in your relationships. You take these things and
Yep.
flip them and give them a positive spin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the YouTube videos you've done. Like what got you to what all do you do to basically do for your YouTube videos? Like, do you go and do like little skits, or are you just basically giving out memoirs and trying to mentor kids to like literally, hey, change what you're doing
Right.
because you never know what it's gonna do to affect you and stuff like
Right.
that. So are you coming out there basically doing speeches and stuff like that, or are you doing like skits and kind of like some guys I've seen on Instagram and stuff like they'll have like these little play by plays. I mean, they're pretty deep. I will definitely say like some of the lessons that they preach and stuff. It's really really deep. Do you do that, or are you just kind of like doing like speeches and stuff like that?
It's a mix of both. So I have like 1 minute videos that I put out on Instagram and Facebook, and I've dropped some of those in YouTube. It's a mix of
Hmm.
we're just gonna straight motivate, and then it's also a mix of I'm gonna give you something specific that I'm talking about because motivation only lasts so far, is what my coach says.
Hmm.
It's like gas in the tank. You got to constantly you got to turn the car on first before you put gas
Right.
in the tank, right? If without the
Hmm.
gas, the car ain't gonna run. What's really tangible is the engine. So I need my engine to be clean. That's the heart. Motivation just
Hmm.
gasses it up. It makes it feel good. So I've given you something tangible on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook to have steps on how to be a better
Hmm.
person, steps on how to deal with bullying, steps on how to deal with a negative mindset, right? Positive
Hmm.
affirmations, right? Telling yourself you are good, looking at what makes you unique. So I have
Right.
really a mix of both, but it's more so you like let's get tangible steps on how to be a better person in life, just in general. So it
Yep.
really takes
I
after the
like it.
rocks philosophy. Just be kind, man. Just be kind. Just be a good human.
It's more said than done, man. It's more said than done. It's crazy. People don't realize that simple thing, man. It gets you a long way.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I've had an episode in my past where I did with one of my good friends, Marcus Jerry, on shout out to him on my unbiased opinion segments that we talked about. Drop the gimmick. I think that what you're bringing out is perfect for it, man. Drop the gimmick. Drop the tough guy persona.
Drop it.
Drop it. It's only so far that's going to get you. And I've learned that, man. I remember, and I try to preach this to my kids numerous times, like, hey, man, it's cool to be the popular kid and stuff like that, but what does it do for you in the long run? What does it do? Like, I told people, like, hey, I'm very popular and stuff in the past and shit and stuff like that, but it's like, where's that got me now?
Yeah.
Do I talk to all of my friends that I went to high school with?
Right.
I talk to a select few. Like, I have my circle, really. And obviously, if I see people at school and stuff, I see them around the neighborhoods, there every moment. So it's just like, hey, constantly, just like literally, how you doing? It's not like, hey, man, I see you every week type scenario. It's just like, hey, man, how you doing? It's been a while. How's things going and stuff like that? And they're like, oh, man, do you remember me? Sad thing is, hopefully this don't get me in trouble. I don't remember half of them. Like, my sister and them be trying to tell me, oh, hey, such and such tells you hi. And I'm like,
who?
Hi. I don't know who you are, but hi. Like,
good to see you again.
Yeah. Hopefully you speak it out before I know. Yeah.
Right.
How you doing? But it only takes you so many places, man. Like, I used to want to be those guys that you see on TV shows and movies. What's the purpose? Like, I'm a guy, I trained so hard playing basketball, building myself up to high school. I thought I could make it to the NBA. Obviously, I'm not that tall. Obviously, genetics does have a factor in making the NBA and stuff like that. And I mean, sometimes it's just a pill that you have to learn. Hey, it's not meant to be. I mean, great example again. Rock didn't make the NFL, and I mean that guy is ridiculously huge, and he didn't make it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with that.
Right.
I did professional wrestling. I've done so many other achievements outside of that barrier, which I still somewhat think it's kind of funny how I jumped from college basketball to going into pro wrestling. That's a huge jump and a change, but yeah, like go from jump shots to throwing drop kicks. Like literally, that's two different scenarios.
Right.
But it only gets you so far. Yeah. Like being popular is cool and all, but what's the end game of it?
Here's what I found about being popular. Being yourself makes you more popular than you'll ever be in life.
Yep.
I'm more popular now than I've been in my entire existence as a human because I found how to be me. Right. And I found that after getting bullied, after being told you're this, you're that. Once I found true me, nobody could tell me anything about me. So like you said, the platform you got 60 subscribers already. That's wonderful. It's just going to grow because you're being you. I can feel it.
Yep.
Right. We both kind of had a similar background of like not knowing who we are, what's cool about us or whatever. But now that we found that, we have a platform and we can share that with other people who may be struggling. That's the beauty of this podcast, man. That's the beauty of what we do.
Yeah, I mean, like I started this YouTube thing like 2 months ago. I praise that. Like 60 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. YouTube is not easy to promote.
It's difficult. It is, man. You're right.
When I see all my results from all my other platforms, I'm like, man, I'm doing good. And then I look at YouTube, I'm like, what happened here? So it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it's just like it keeps it. I won't ever stay content with it. So it keeps pushing me. Like, you know what? What do I need to do to promote myself on YouTube? What do I need to do to get this following out? I've had to learn big time. Those hashtags are a big marquee thing now for people to follow into that, and I'm still new to that.
Yeah.
And literally, it's just like, okay, this does work. Like, my episodes are never one certain topic, so it's like literally, it's hard to promote it when I'm sitting there. When it says, "Hey, what type is your podcast?" I'm like, You mean this episode? Like, I
Right.
can give you that, but I can't tell you the whole scenario because they're just everywhere. And
Yeah.
that's how I've always saw this perspective is I don't want one particular topic just because I can bring so many different visuals to seeing my perspective. And maybe even people will be like, you know what? I like that. Like
Yeah.
he has a point.
Yeah.
And maybe it gives somebody a different mindset of just something. Like I use the best example. I've had this I talk about her so much. Her name was Stacy Simpson and she had stage 4 cancer and I did an episode with her. She was talking about pageantry. Um had no lick of knowledge doing pageantry. None at all. And I was actually dreading that episode just because I didn't know what I was going to say. Like, this was the first time I did an episode where I wasn't in my comfort zone. Like, I literally was just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? Like, I constantly was questioning, like, maybe I should tell her I'm sick. Like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, maybe I should postpone this or something. But when I got on there, I was nervous and stuff. But when she started the episode with that personality and just how positive that she was, going through all that mess that she just went with it, had, I was just like, throw that out. We're good.
We're
We
here.
can do this. I'm
Right.
happy.
Absolutely.
And she brought a whole different perspective to so many different things that, I mean, I used to say, like, what's the point of pageantry? What's the point of it? Like, are you making great money out of this? Like, what's the point of it?
Right.
And when she would talk about it and what the purpose meant for her, it made me come back. It's like, you know what? I ain't got no room to talk. I was wearing trunks and a mask and tights in front of people shirtless. So I mean, I ain't got no room to be over here talking about pageantry. Like,
Right.
mine may be a little bit worse, but you know,
Yeah.
even though I could say, hey, I pleased the kids, but you know, that kind of be a little bit out the wire too on some ways. So it's just
How did
like,
you please the kids? Yeah.
you better watch it over there,
Yeah,
buddy.
for sure,
You watch
for
your
sure.
limits. But yeah, it was just amazing just to see how positive and just how open minded and just how energetic she was, knowing that hey, she just went and she just got in remission and literally she got the cancer back, but she's not like devastated about it. She's not literally like, oh man, my life is over type scenario. She has her own gymnastics program. She was going through chemo, still teaching these kids while on chemo. So what she'll do is take a step back, go throw up, then come back and teach the kids again. Like
Wow.
she literally was that type of person. I was just like, you know what? There's nothing I can't do.
Yeah.
There's nothing, no topic that I can't talk about. No topic that I can just be like, you know what? I don't have no relation to talk about that. I have no right to talk about it. And man, I tell you, just how much that changed me just from doing that episode with her was just amazing. And what perspective it brings for me to see in every episode that I have now. It's just like, you know what? Let's go. Like, I don't care what you want to talk about. I'm there.
Yeah.
We can go. We can do this. Like, it's just a beautiful thing. But Rod, I know I babbled on a good portion of the time, but man, this was definitely a good one. I definitely got to admit, man, for your first interview, not bad. You look like you were not nervous. You look like you were ready to go. You had a purpose, and you set that barrier. Do you want to do some plugs? Talk about where the people can follow you, see your work, check out the YouTube videos that you've been producing and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So y'all guys can find me on Facebook at Roderick Big Rod Baker, or Roderick B Rod Baker, excuse me. You can find me on Instagram at Big Rod _ Baker Man, BIGROD _ BAKERMAN. And you can find me on YouTube as well as Big Rod, aka Baker Man. And I got my videos on there. You can see all my videos on most of my videos on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm gonna put more on YouTube as well.
Also, guys, the links will be below on the episode, so you can check them out. Rod, I appreciate you doing this, man. You did a great job for your first interview, man. This was absolute blast.
Thank you.
You actually got me talking about some barriers that I didn't want to mention out sometimes on podcasts, because you know some people are just sitting there like, So you a baby daddy? Like, what did you do to that? Like, man.
Right.
But it's just like some things, like, it has to be said. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
all
that's
real.
what I love about a podcast. Is like nobody is wrong for what they say. Like, it's what you believe, and that's one people don't believe, man. I tell them, I like to use this metaphor. You can get whatever you want to say out in a podcast because guess what? Worst case scenario, they hit pause, but guess what? That play still pops up to say, "Hey, one play."
Hey,
That's all that matters.
right.
That's really all that matters. Like,
We're
you got off what you needed to say. It's not like, hey, I can't say what I wanted to say because Johnny decided he wanted to listen to only 30 minutes of my episode. You've already said what you want.
Right.
That's how people are. But Rod, I appreciate you doing this, man. This was a great chat. You are more than welcome to come on anytime you want.
Yep.
And man, I appreciate this. Also, guys, if you haven't, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all our platforms and stuff. Check out the Bonfire store, guys. Holidays they're here. They're here, man. Get you some Buzzing with Marlowe merch. Get 15% off. I'm doing that until the end of New Year's Eve. And guys, I appreciate how y'all watched it. We're out.